What?
Banking crisis? What banking crisis? If you give the largest bank in the world a couple $1 billion for basically nothing, how do you think their earnings are going to be? Well, we'll check out JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citigroup. Those are earnings. UNH gets pounded. That's rebounding. It's an earnings Friday here on Pre-Market Prep.
Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep with your hosts, Joel Elkanin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I'd buy that stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day.
Okay, investors, here we are on Friday, really the first big day of earnings season. S&P's up near the high of the move, up 6 handles at 54.549.50. Bucks still under par, flat on the day, 99.44. Bonds down a few ticks, just under 127. Crude basically flat, trading just under 77. Gold having a good week, down 60 cents at 1963.30. Silver up 3 cents at 24.80. And Bitcoin giving back a little bit from yesterday's robust gains, down $500 at 31,425. 32K still looming large. So Dennis, I want you to do some math for me. As I mentioned, JP Morgan, got some money from, I believe, First Republic. Their net interest income jumped $21.9 billion or 44%. It's 38% if you exclude First Republic. They expect net interest income of about $87 billion. Jamie Dimon says the U.S. economy continues to be resilient. Should I sell my JP Morgan on this? Can it get any better than this for an earnings report?
I don't know. It's making new highs, so I'm never a big fan of stocks making new highs. But the report was really good. I mean, the valuation of JP Morgan's 10 times earnings. It's best of breed. It's very hard to just come in here and say, yep, this is the top. I mean, every time we try to call a top in anything, it seems like in 2023, the stocks just go higher. So
Okay.
I'm not telling you to sell your JP.
Okay. All right. Well, I picked it up during the banking crisis.
So you're long JP Morgan, even though you didn't let me buy it way back when it was $30 during the whale trade.
Exactly.
Of course.
Don't buy it at 30. You're going to get it at 28. Here it is 152, and I don't think I have a chance.
I think that's so long ago that I don't even know if it's on the chart.
It was when we first started the show.
Oh,
and
so
I complained about it on the show to you for the next 10 years. I've never forgiven you really for it. I'm like, I really want to buy it, Joel. I called him up and I was like, this JP Morgan is with the whale trade.
I was just
like
trying to make it
60 to like 28. And I'm like, they're Jamie Dimon. They're going to figure this out. Eventually, this story's going to turn around. And Joel's like, yeah, but look at the support. That 30 is like your support. It's $28. That's your number. I was like, okay. I won't buy it at 30. I'll wait for the 28. And here we are 10 years later, and it's $152 and all those dividends on top of it. And I'm like, Joel, you cost me big time on that one.
You know what it was? It was back in December of 2011. And it made
12 years ago. It might have been before we started the show then.
Well, it was the previous day. It was in the November low of 2011 is what I was focusing on. 28.
Oh.
And the low was 30.03. So you don't know if you would have gotten 30 because the low in December of 2011 was 30.03. But people don't want to hear about our long-term.
I always go 30.05. I always go in front.
Oh, you would have gotten it.
I would have got it.
You would have,
or maybe Citadel would have got it on me.
Actually, I remember you said, "Well, there's huge size at 30. I'm going to lean on that for the next 12 years."
All right. Should
All
we
right,
take a quick
Mitch,
look
what do you
at
got?
Citigroup? Should we take a quick look at Citigroup as they came out at 8:01 here?
Well, let's finish out with JP Morgan, do the price action, and then move on to the other ones individually.
Yeah, I was wondering if Citi was going to get the run on us because I've seen it do it before. But let's get to it. Let's numbers here. JP Morgan Chase, they reported a strong Q2 result with adjusted earnings per share at $4.37, beating the estimate of $3.99. Sales came in at $41.3 billion, while managed revenues reached $42.4 billion, both exceeding estimates. However, it's worth noting that the average deposits were down 6% despite a 13% increase in average loans. So that just shows that the deposits did go down, and that's kind of normal, right? In this environment for kind of deposits to go down, that just kind of shows us, right, that there's other places to get the yield, right? And that's what's going on here, I think.
Well, but the deposits are going down at Citi. Didn't JP Morgan say their deposits were down too?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. I was talking
where
about
the hell is
Morgan
all
there.
of it going? Bitcoin?
I think it's going into like these bigger savings accounts that you can get, 5%,
And they don't count those. I don't know how they
don't count those in those.
They don't count
those
that as deposits when they move it into a higher. I guess they're moving them into
CDs
bonds and treasuries,
and bonds and treasuries
and stuff
into this deposits now.
So that's not counted as a deposit if they hold it as a treasury at the same bank.
Yeah, it's no longer sitting in the checking account.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. I've moved all my money. I had all my money just sitting in the checking accounts, and I keep nothing there. They keep saying, I got to keep I write a check and I got to go make sure it's okay there because I don't keep anything in my checking account anymore because you get 5%, and kicking around at these, just in different places all over the place. So in short-term money. So okay, well that makes sense then.
154.50 is your pre-market high. Man, just knowing the way JP Morgan's traded in the past, that is going to be a good number. Nothing on the dailies or monthlies. Next monthly high doesn't come into 159.03. But I just wonder if this is going to pull a delta on us. I mean, that delta was delta. It had a big run in the earning. Yeah, that's the only thing in that. Like I said, if I was in it for a trade, a scalp or something, intermediate trade, boy, oh boy, oh boy, I'd be licking my chops at even like 150. I'd just be like 153. Oh, that's good enough for me. Boom, I'm out. But we'll see what happens in the regular session.
I mean, the delta was your classic buy on rumor, sell on news. I mean, the thing went from 35 to 50 again because the CEO was on CNBC. I felt like 3 or 4 times in the last month telling him how good he was doing. So we all knew it. So eventually, and the algos buy because they're too stupid to figure it out that he's already been on CNBC. They just see, beat, raise. They automatically buy. The smart humans win here because they're selling into that. We talked about it, and the people who are listening to pre-market prep, we were talking about that yesterday. How the hell was this not all priced in? Well, it was. And that's why it went down. And, you get people calling you afterwards and saying, what's wrong with Delta? They beat raise. Why in the hell is it down? I don't understand. Well, 35 to 50. I mean, now JP Morgan has not done that. The banks are not up nearly that. In the last months, went from 140 to 148. So it's not like, everybody knew JP Morgan was going to kill it. You think, JP Morgan's going to kill it, but you don't know for sure. So it's kind of not the same. But at the same time, there's been some profit taking on earnings on good numbers. And we've seen this historically with the banks, Joel, over quarters upon quarters upon quarters. And the banks come out, they beat, they all pop. And then when the dust settles, they're all down. I mean, there's no AI story here. There's none of that. So I'm not chasing them.
Oh, no.
All right. Now let's move on to Wells Fargo as they've beaten expectations in Q2 with earnings per share of $1.25, surpassing the estimate of $1.15. Sales also beating the expectations here of $20.53 billion, beating the estimate of $20.07. So Wells Fargo, that still has a little room to maybe get towards resistance.
Well, and Wells Fargo has been, not JP Morgan making new all-time highs. I mean, You're talking about a stock significantly off of its highs. I don't even think it's making a new 50 or 2023 high. So
nope.
45, and then you get 47 resistance. Nah, I'm not chasing this one either.
We'll see where they can open this. 620,000 shares have traded up $1.66. I just would lean. I mean, if you're looking for targets, 45.80 is your pre-market high. Probably, I don't know if this thing could. Well, now it's at 45.35. Well, let's see what happens with more liquidity coming in. But man, if this thing opened up over 46, you would have, or at near 46, you have to be licking your chops. I think it's going to have a hard time even opening at this current level. Nothing on the dailies except your next daily high. Let's see if I can find. Oh, if you really want to hold out for something juicy, 46.27 was your May 23rd high, and as Dennis said, we're nowhere near them. Well, I would say nowhere near. High for the year, 48.84 in February.
Okay, let's bring us to Citigroup now. They just reported at 8:01 there, and looks like EPS came in at $1.33, beats the $1.30 estimate. Sales of $19.4 billion, beat the $19.27 billion estimate. Citi, a little pop there on the number, but then pulled back really quickly here. What do you guys think about this setup?
Best of breed, Citi worst of breed. That's just what it is. And it's been disappointing for a long time. I mean, this is a stock where if you bought it back during the financial crisis, you're basically up nothing. I mean, how many years? Go back on your charts, and we can go to the long-term charts. This has got to be one of the dogs of all dogs. And, people will look and say, oh, yeah, it's 6 times earnings or 7 times earnings. I mean, it's just sometimes just about, what have you done for me? And this has just been dead money.
Good Lord. That's
exactly. Like, this is your long-term chart. So during the financial crisis, we know it lost basically 98% of its value. They diluted the hell out of it, and it never came back. There you are, 2009. We bounced up to 47. Here we are, 14 years later, it's still at 47. People keep telling me this is a value stock, except your value never goes higher. So does it have pops in there? Sure. Is there trades in there? Sure. Can you day trade it and pair trade it as a day trader or swing trader? Absolutely. Do I invest in Citigroup? No, thank you, because for 14 years, it's done nothing. And the years before that, you just lost money. So because you lost 98% of it during the financial crisis, and it never came back. People stopped saying it came back. It never came back.
That is one ugly chart.
All right, I'm just gonna. Oh man, and the Dennis line would be here. If you're buying
Look at JP Morgan against it on the long term, just to give you perspective of a good run company and a poor run company. So go to Citigroup. That's your long term Citigroup. Go to JP Morgan. Your long term chart of JP Morgan, where Citigroup's down 98% since 2008. JP Morgan, alternatively, just get rid of the Citigroup chart. Don't you have to put, or you can try to be fancy here if you want, but I would just, we can remember what the Citigroup chart looked like. Okay. It looked like a disaster. You can see alternatively here, JP Morgan since 2008 is up 300%. So 2008, Citigroup's down 95%, and JP Morgan's up 300%. There's no doubt who the best of breed here is. I would continue, if I own any bank, it's going to be JP Morgan.
That's what I was thinking during the banking crisis, that I had very little exposure to it. And I figured, well, why don't you go to the best? Now, I also did buy some Co-America, some Key. We all know I took a little haircut on the First Republic. I'm glad I got out of that one. But, overall, you talk about when you're doing your long-term investing, buying weakness. Well, there was certainly weakness in the banking sector there. And, so far, everything's turning out okay. JP Morgan having a great day so far. So we'll see if the rally continues. I can't, there are absolutely no guarantees of anything ever in the markets, but I wish I could I had a chat GPT AI that would say, man, when JP Morgan opens up 428, how many times does it, like, at one point in a session, maybe only be up $2 or $1? I doubt it will go to the top of yesterday's range, but pretty convicted here on the JPM.
Not to chase.
Correct. That's the best way to put it. I ain't buying it.
To chase or not to chase, not to chase that's
a good way to put it.
Anyways.
BlackRock, the investment management giant, posting earnings per share of $9.28 for Q2, beating the estimate of $8.46. However, sales slightly missed the expectation here at $4.46 billion. On a positive note, BlackRock did experience net inflows of $80.16 billion during the quarter.
That's where all the JP Morgan money is going to, BlackRock. It's run up $60 into the report. It ran up 60 points. It ran up 10% in 5 days. Just to give you perspective, this stock moves 10% in a year most of the time. It ran up 10% in 5 days into this report. We talk about the alpha extraction from owning stocks ahead of the reports. Holy mackerel, you just killed it if you did that on BlackRock. And what did they do? The bar was set so high. That's very, very difficult to get over that bar. Sometimes the markets just trade by the playbook, and this is one that just traded by the playbook, up ridiculously ahead of the announcement. They announced, the announcement's fine, but they're down on it because there simply was too high of expectations.
Oh boy. It's always tough doing technicals on $700 stocks, but I would just maybe, if you wanted to try and pick this up on the cheap, 7-Eleven, good old 7-Eleven, 710.99.
Did you go out for Slurpee Day?
I did not go for
No.
Slurpee
Did
Day.
you, Mitch?
That would fill the
No.
gap.
Former 7-Eleven employee did not go and see your old buddies?
No, did not go for the
All right.
the slurps.
We're opening at yesterday's low. I will say that right here at yesterday's low. So next target on the downside, 718.65. S&P's just stuck up, made a new high for the move, 52.25. Yesterday's high, 51.50. Your next daily high, and you guys have to believe me, is like in the 4,700, because I can't remember what happened in April of 22 when we came down, but that's your next daily high in the S&P. So it's gonna be hard. When I say it's hard to give resistance, it's hard to give resistance.
Let's go to UNH here. United Health Group, one of the leading healthcare companies, reported adjusted earnings per share of $6.14, surpassing the estimate of $6.01. Sales of Q2 came in at $92.9 billion, beating the estimate of $91. But that looks very head and top here, even at 550s. So
I don't know. This
on
is
the
tough.
monthlies, I see a head and shoulder. Not what you want to see there on a monthly.
The opposite true. This thing's straight down into the report.
Exactly.
Even fast money, the options. Oh yeah, they're buying puts and they're thinking this is going to go much lower here on the thing. They're usually wrong. So it's pops $14 on it. So all the people who bought those puts wrong again. So we'll take those people off, and make sure they don't make any money. And then probably at the expiration today, maybe the thing continues to leak after that. So I'd still sell the pop.
This and Humana have been under extreme selling pressure as of late. So to me, this looks like a relief pop. There was let's see, yesterday's high was much lower, but your 2-day high, your 3-day high, and your 4-day high are right there, 464. You popped up to 466. You've leaked $4. I don't think you're getting back up there, but bam, just a pop after. I mean, people got smoked the last 2 days in this thing. So they'll be like, thank you. I'm cutting my losses on this one.
All right, let's keep it going. We got a lot to talk about today, so we can go to the cryptocurrency market. Let's continue as we see positive momentum. Stocks such as Coinbase, Riot, Mara, MicroStrategy, Hut, Hive, all experiencing a liftoff as of late. Of course, Bitcoin really taking off. And then additionally, we did get kind of cryptocurrency news was XRP price nearly doubling following Ripple's recent legal win against the US SEC. Could this continue the hot cryptocurrency market and continue these stocks?
Wow. Let's go to Coinbase and let's just talk that move yesterday. Who downgraded it? Was it Barclays?
Yeah, I remember. Somebody
like, downgraded that in the morning.
Someone's getting fired.
That's got to be
There's no
the
way,
absolute
man. The worst
downgrade in the history since we have done this show. I don't think I've ever seen somebody come with a downgrade and say sell it.
Man?
And the stock opens at the low and then rallies 25% in one day. That has got to be the worst call in the history of analysts almost. I've never seen something like that. So, wow, what a
Barclays.
horrible call. Sorry, who was that analyst from
It was
Barclays?
Barclays. I got
We won't even call your name out because it was
Benjamin
such a bad call.
Buddish.
No,
I will put him out there. I'll put him out there. Benjamin Buddish downgraded it
Benjamin
from
Buttons?
70 to 61. I don't think it went to
that was a movie.
61.
Wow.
And Kathy sold 2 days
Bad luck
ago.
for sure, Robo. Robo's saying it's bad luck. Bad luck for sure. Bad timing. Like, I mean, that's just the worst time when you get news comes out and you've downgraded it. But holy mackerel. That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Kathy sold some a few days before. You know, Dennis, Mitch, I think we need to set some servers up near all the major courthouses and just that's where we co-locate, because that's the courts, it seems, of, you know, the Microsoft Activision deal, this Ripple thing. I mean, the courts, man, these rulings are coming out and they're just moving the market. Huge day for Coinbase yesterday, pulling back with Bitcoin a little bit today. I have no idea where support is. I would say I would keep an really close eye on that close from yesterday at 107. And I use that as potential resistance. I don't know about the 109.21 if it could get back up there with Bitcoin in the red by 535, but 107, good number there for Coinbase, and it's been running ahead. I mean, this, you talk about runs. This thing has doubled since June. What happened on was this another downgrade too on June 5th? Mitch, can you look? This thing went from 58.71 to 51.61. What happened that day, June 5th? It couldn't have been a bad day in the market. We never had bad days in the market. What happened on June 5th? Did someone downgrade it too?
I have no idea.
Or it might have been courts. I think it might have been something legal.
The
Wells
notice.
notice.
The well notice, probably.
The Wells notice.
Yeah, it could have been the Wells
The
notice.
SEC, you know, is looking into them, and I don't know. I guess nothing's coming of that, so that's why we're
You know,
popping back up.
they have to wait to let us know a little later down the line. What date did you say? It was the 15th. Yeah, there was a reiterate.
5th, June 5th, and the price action was on the 6th. The price action was on
and a buy.
It was on the 6th. I think everyone's correct. I think it was like the Wells notice or
now. One thing I wanted to note, though, of course, is that Coinbase is going to be, it's listed again to trade XRP. And so that's one thing that I'd keep an eye out on Coinbase, because I'm thinking that maybe you have some traders even maybe making new Coinbase accounts because they want to trade XRP. So just keeping that in mind, that we could see maybe a positive mention from new customers coming to Coin from that. I know that's a big kind of Reddit thing out there, so just look into it, team, if you guys want to learn a little bit more. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go to another area that I want to take a look at. Disaster stock of the day. Let's go to Leslie's Pool Supplies, as they've revised their fiscal 23 outlook after reporting lower than expected sales for Q3. The company expects net sales of 1.4 to 1.45 million, with adjusted net incomes ranging from 52 to 59 million. The CEO stating multiple things like, well below our expectation. They had double-digit traffic declines. So a whole bunch of negatives there stated also in the report. Not looking good here. Leslie's Pool Supplies.
Disaster, because this came out of the blue here too, and this is going to hit pool as well. So if you're asking why is pool down 25 points, look no further than Leslie's. That's your sympathy trade. I mean, this Leslie's, boom, this is horrible. So obviously they're assuming nobody's doing pools anymore. So POL is down 6.7% too, and they didn't even say anything. Ugly, man. This is real ugly.
Yeah, this is I believe a new all-time low for the issue, by a wide margin. Wow, this is a new all-time low. The former all-time low was $9.
Impressive in this market to be making new all-time lows. It takes a special stock to be making new all-time lows in this market.
I want to buy. I want to buy a pool now. But I mean, oh man, oh man. I wonder if they're any cheaper to build. But look, it was just that the pandemic. Oh, got to have a pool. Pandemic. Everyone has to own a pool. They IPO at the right time, right during COVID, take it over 32. So I don't know. Just my contrarian self would say $3 below a new all-time low. I don't. Even if I thought it was going like 5 or 0. I'd be licking my chops here. Pre-market low comes in at 633, only trading 647.
I think it's also interesting that maybe this could have been caught some traders thinking seasonality. If I look at pool, it has a tendency of going up in the summer. And so I think that maybe some traders might have been thinking, oh, well, it's the summer, right? Everybody goes get pool supplies in the summer. Well, not doing as much, but definitely pool, I think, is way better looking chart than Leslie's. That right there, I would say.
Oh, definitely best of breed, worst
Yeah.
of breed here. You've got the pools, the best of breed, and Leslie's. Looks like it's going to be no breed the way it's going. So not a good story.
All right, we'll see what happens with Pool and Leslie. We got a lot of ratings that we can go into. Let's go to first one, big stock, right? Let's go to UBS upgrading Microsoft to buy and raising price target to 400. Microsoft. What was this? Did we get a new close?
This is just the lemming market. We are in the lemming market where everybody is just chasing now. And the analysts are chasing more than any retail trader out there.
Ever.
They're chasing so much.
We could have a new all-time high, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right
yeah,
there.
probably will. 351.
349.67 is what I have back in 21.
The analysts are just full of
made a new one.
And you know what? Let's give the analysts the ones that are chasing. Look at the poor contrarian in Coinbase. It goes up and he's like, that makes the bold contrarian call and he gets killed. So I guess you got to just go with the flow if you're the analyst, because that's what's working. And that's what's working from the trading perspective too. Like you think, okay, well, the special rebalance, this will slow those stocks down.
I was going to go into that.
One day. And again, after the close, Mitch is thinking after the close, we're going to get the official announcement. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. There's
but maybe,
no timing released
maybe nobody
already.
cares at this point in time. Maybe just nobody cares. I personally think that they might get hit on the official announcement, but it doesn't. If the announcement doesn't come till after the close today, that doesn't do anything. So I'm not sure if they've announced the actual time, but right now it's full on chase mode, retail chasing, analyst chasing, and you know what? The people who have been chasing have been making money. So I guess chase away. Tom Lee is leading the charge on the chase.
Tom Lee. We should try and get him on the show. I like the 350 area. 349.94 is your pre-market high. A big move. Just a few days ago, you're at 327. Now you're at 350. All-time high. Made a new all-time high, as we mentioned, back on June 20th when you made a high at expiration Friday. 351.47 if you're holding out for another target here in Microsoft. And talk about chasing. Who was it that put the home builders at a buy today, Mitch? Raymond James.
Let's go to that.
Let's buy the home builders. Let's buy the home builders. Dennis, I know you're all in for that one.
This is it, man. We're in the
James.
chase market. KB Homes,
coming in.
Lennar. They go up 30%
Cole
a month.
Brothers.
They're going up another 30%. The chase is on. The FOMO is on. Look no farther than Nikola. Look no farther than NKLA. Which, unbelievably, we looked at that headline yesterday.
Oh, go ahead. You want to talk?
We
about
looked at that headline yesterday, and we're like, does it just pop on this? Just because they got some contract and it wasn't even for much money or whatever, but they got this, and then just boom. That's it. That's the catalyst. It's all it needed. Stock doubles in a day. The short squeeze is on. The chase is on. The trash is dashing. This is full on like FOMO run rampant right now.
Yeah,
it doesn't make me want to invest in anything, though. I'll tell you that. Trading's awesome. Trading, sure, you're going in these things, but I've been burned a lot of times before saying, "Oh yeah, let's go invest in Microsoft now."
Well, it doesn't make sense to me, but I can take a look and you see all these home builders flying, right? All these upgrades coming in today. And I've been looking even at companies like even Rocket finally moving to the upside. We've talked about Rocket for how long? And that was in like a zero interest environment. We thought that would be the area that Rocket could get going.
All
but
the
even
dogs in
Rocket
2020
is moving, man. So, hey, this looks like a bull market if I ever seen one before.
Oh, there's
right?
no doubt. If we had doubt before that we were in a bull market, there is no doubt right now. Does that mean the one thing though, like we can label and and you can say, oh, we're in a bull market or oh, we're in a bear market. But that doesn't mean it continues tomorrow, the next day, or the next day. That's still the past. You're looking at the past to try to extrapolate where the future is going. But holy mackerel, has this market just ever ran?
What I notice on that is positive reaction to positive news and how much lift stocks get from the positive news right now. It's pretty big, right? Let's go to run through these upgrades. So Raymond James upgrade Lennar to outperform, announcing 150 price target. And then, of course, upgrading Toll Brothers to strong buy and raising price target to 100. Then KB Homes increasing dividend by 33%. I'm sure that helped. Raymond James upgraded KB Homes to outperform and announcing a $61 price target. Oh,
what are we supposed to say? I mean, they've all run this trade.
ITB
Again,
maybe?
we can just go and chase everything here and we may get lucky, but at a certain point in time, there's a rug pull. And I don't know when that's coming. I don't know how to control the risk. I always trade as setups. I like it when, they've come, they've consolidated, they're in an uptrend, and then they start going. I don't like buying the BlackRocks that just run 60 points in their earnings, thinking, oh, it's going to run another 60 after it reports. So it's tough to just come in here and upgrade these things now. Like, you got to get the timing better, analysts. Like, wait for the pullback, wait for the check back, and then you get some stabilization, and then you can feel the demand going to rebuild, and then it's going to go. There's a time for everything. Jumping on moving trains is a good way to get run over.
When everyone was screaming recession, and I talked about the eyeball indicator, and I'm looking at these stocks, and these stocks were just not screaming recession. Interest rate, and could you ask for a worse interest rate environment for housing? With rising interest rates, I don't even know what you could get a mortgage for. Would you?
This kicks all logic out the water, though.
They jacked them so much, though, Joel, that nobody could move.
Wants to move.
Nobody could move. So then it was a different playbook than we've ever seen. They've never jacked them that fast with the small, so we just didn't know. So
normally the underlying asset, right, the interest rates comes into play here, but it didn't come into play because of what you're saying right there, right, Dennis? The supply issue
come into play because people weren't selling. Like I can't. I mean, I got a 3% mortgage. I'm holding on to this thing, forever. And instead of, so even if people want to move, and I look at the market,
so then there's no supply. So then you go to I'm going to build a house.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm gonna find.
There's gonna be some bigger issues, I think, that expands from this, and I think that in the long run, some type of fiscal policy is gonna have to come in here to help. But we'll see what happens there.
I just want to add one more thing. I think it's I think it's kind of a very generational thing too, because of what you have on, out on the market. I mean, people aren't having 6, 7 kids. I mean, we're not the Brady Bunch anymore, right? I know a lot of people that have 1 kid, maybe 2. I have 2. Dennis, you have 2. Mitch, you're still working on it. But and you got these big.
Ain't gonna be more than 3. I'll tell you that much. This ain't no Brady Bunch.
You're outnumbered. You're outnumbered at 3. And BZ Tokyo is mentioning it. I mean, people, the houses that are on the market are not suitable for, the family. I mean, some people are not even having kids. Why do you need a 4 or 5 bedroom house when, it's just you and your lady, or you and your partner, to be politically correct. But things have changed. We'll see. I don't know what to tell you. If you have a target at 83.37 in Toll Brothers, take it. But I mean, it's just breaking out here. I don't know what's going to change the trend, because who knows what, maybe some joker is going to come out on Monday and upgrade these things too. That's the other thing we've been seeing, one on top of each other, like, hey,
they just go. Once the one starts upgrading, the lemmings come in and they go another one and they go another one, and the panic sets in. I mean, these analysts aren't traders. Some of them, like Michael Pachter says, he looks at the charts, and if you look at Michael Pachter, he times it. They time them obviously they don't get it right all the time, but they're trying to time them to a certain extent. He's talked about that on the show. I firmly believe that some of these analysts are just pushing pencils, and then they see another one go, and they're like, "Well, I had the report. I'm ready to go. Get it out there. Like I got to get it out there before it goes because this one just went." So if they're thinking about it, then they see the other analysts and they read the other report, and like that makes sense. Then we'll
That
just
makes me
change it a little
mad.
bit.
Yeah.
They're all chase. We set the whole strategy on it.
Yeah.
Analyst chase price. You get one upgrade, and then it gets another one, and another one, and another one, and that
And
drives
they also chase
price.
each other, right? I mean, it seems like they chase each other too, because
They do.
The downgrade on Alcoa coming in from JP Morgan today.
for
I think we've
sure.
seen some of these come in the last week, right? They definitely do. And I think that the important part is not always relying 100% on these analyst ratings, because they can definitely fool you. And a lot of times they're late to the game. So I don't think they're front running in these situations. It's more late to the game and just trying to play catch up on the price target. Let's go to our guest today. You guys smash the like out there. We've been having a great show. Let's keep it moving.
Raghee, you've always given us a lot of compliments on the show. Can you upgrade our show today?
I'm sorry. What show am I on right now? I've just been on so many shows this morning, and
It's named Bloomberg.
it is great to see you guys. I see the blue thing. I did not get the memo about the Sirius Blue today. I was kind of hoping also it'd be Friday the 13th, but it's Friday the 14th.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun. Good to see you guys. Good to see you.
Yeah,
guys.
good to see you, Raghee. Well, we've had some pretty good analysts on the show, and
That's a four-letter word.
Yeah, we've had you on quite frequently, and I can remember during some of the tougher times earlier in the year, maybe in February, you were like, "Hey, it is what it is. You got to get your shopping list out, and you got to look, for stocks that you want to own. You want to own them on a long-term decline. Of course, your short-term trading is different from your longer-term trading here, but help us put this rally into perspective, or can you put this rally into perspective?"
I love being on the show, and I love the audience, and I love the chatter and what you guys say. We have skin in the game. We're not talking about ideas and getting on Zoom and talking about things that we're not feeling and going through. So that's one of the things I love about being here and talking to this group. As far as making sense of all this, if I remember that the market's always thinking 6 months ahead, 1 year ahead, I know it's easy to grab all the Armageddon, apocalyptic type narratives. I get it. They're out there. But at the end of the day, when I look at price, it's just not being priced in. We've had an uptrend in the NASDAQ led by XLK, XLC, XLY since the end of April. So what I think and what I feel are irrelevant. It's just what I see. And I think that's the hardest part of trading. Turning all the
100%.
other noise off and saying, it's in an uptrend. And yes, it might be stupid, but I don't get penalized. My brokerage statement isn't 15% because why are you in a stupid uptrend? I get paid the same. So we all do. So the way that I like to look at it is if we're in the pause to pivot window of one more hike at the end of this month, maybe, but it looks like less and less so, one more hike before the end of the year. This central bank's just about done, and it makes sense why there's risk appetite mostly in tech. Healthcare is still a laggard. Financials are trying to come back, and I'm scared to death about regional banks and commercial real estate. That's one thing that I'm scared about in the back of my mind. But other than that, buy the stinking dip.
That's the truth. And I think that one time that I can say that a lot of people have a tendency of when they see prices just going through the roof, they try to put logic to the market. And that's when we start getting, really frustrated, right? Because the truth is that a lot of times what we do is we hear, oh, stock market, well, read this book, right? This will give you the answer, right? And the truth is that this is not in any books, right? And if anything, one thing that I think is important is learning how to just kind of follow the trend, right? And maybe using different kind of moving averages, things like that to tell you, are we still in this trend? Because it just continues going higher. And anytime that we get this little downturn, you see some of the bears come out of the caves, but quickly, they just get destroyed and run over.
I love that book that you held up there, Mitch. I don't know if that was
Yeah.
New Market Wizards or Market Wizards.
Yeah.
One of the first books I read. Yeah, Market. It's just still the best. This is what I tell everyone at Market Wizards. How-to book? No way. 30 people in that book, 30 different ways, floor traders, systems traders, long-term, short-term. They all emphasize one thing: risk management. And that's it.
That's
right.
it.
So if I'm going to get long, I don't want to get long at the top of a great Momo day. And I saw someone mention in the chats as it was rolling by, everything does have a tendency to either pull back, retrace, or revert to the mean. Be patient, wait for that pitch, and then we'll get to work. But yeah, that's the one thing I love about that book. They all emphasize risk management.
Love it. We're going through it right now with a book club that I do here for Benzinga. So love the shout out there. Let's go to crypto, as we've been seeing crypto really boom lately. And we saw that XRP come out and a lot of stocks starting to lift off with this. Do you think that Bitcoin could maybe just getting started here?
Yeah, I didn't wear my diamond hand shirt. I will be straight up. I haven't looked at it because whenever everything starts turning bearish on it, I want to shut it out, because part of diamond hands is also deaf ears, right? I don't want to
like
hear,
it.
I had a theory, I had a hypothesis back in 2016. I've also got a really good cost basis. And then I just turn it off. But I will say, when you look at sort of the metrics, and again, I'm no expert. When I look at the metrics of the ledger, though, it's getting more active. I am noticing when I'm following people that know far more about crypto than I do, things are getting more active. So I'm just going to hodl. That's all I got to say about that. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. I'm no more sad when it's testing lows than I am excited that it's testing highs. I just try to remind all my friends and family that always ask me about Bitcoin when it's moving higher. If you love it when it's moving higher, buy it when it's on sale, for crying out loud, if you really believe in the narrative, which I do.
Do you go for any of the stocks plays? I just wonder, any of the miners, are you interested in
Maras,
those?
your coins, things like that?
Yeah.
I'll trade them, but my usual thought is, unless there's real liquidity, at least say 1,000 open interest for the strike that I want in that stock. I don't play the stocks. Usually I'll play the options. So unless there's liquidity, sometimes that'll keep me away. But Mara coin, they're quite liquid, but I'll usually trade them 2 to 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, that kind of window.
Okay.
So, Raghee, when you're in this kind of environment where basically everything is going up all the time, like what do you look for? I mean, a lot of Dennis and I over the years, trying to call turns in the market. Well, you could try call turn, but if it's not a turn, then you better double up and go the other way. When things get to this area, because, and I've mentioned this several times over the last week, there's no daily resistance in here. There really isn't. We came down hard in April of 2022. Do you wait for some kind of technical formation? Do you wait to some kind of macro event like China invading Taiwan, or war in Ukraine, or a banking crisis? What kind of things do you look for a potential turn?
Having watched you guys for a long time, and I think Dennis does this really well. You do this really well. Mitch, you're great at playing referee. But you both are looking at narratives in the market, right? I know Dennis does this a lot. He's looking at different narratives, different stories, saying, hey, this could influence psychology. And then I think, like every great trader, we know every great trade has an underlying story that finally dovetail with price action. Eventually, the story and the price had the same direction. And that's something we're lacking right now. I look at the transition from Q2 to Q3. I haven't seen you all since then. We look at, was there sector rotation? Not at all. Tech just got stronger. Maybe financials got a little bit of a boost, but we didn't see a lot of profit taking out of XLK, XLC, XLY. We have that wonky rebalancing today. So we'll find out ultimately, where the extra percentages are going to come out of those magnificent seven and into the other names. But ultimately, I'm just sticking with tech. I'm trying to get a little bit more bullish with financials. Healthcare is still a nightmare, and that's going to keep the Dow and the S&P lagging behind the Nas. And that's why most of my emphasis has been on tech. And this rebalancing thing with the Nas, I think, is just an opportunity to take advantage of some shallow dips. Although we have earnings too, right? We're going.
Yeah, I was just going to go into that. Everyone, Q1 is going to be bad, and it wasn't bad. And now coming into Q2, whether or not companies are lowering the bar or not, any sectors or anything you're looking for? I mean, looks like the financials are off to a good start after a banking crisis. Who would have thunk that? But where else? I mean, obviously your mega cap tech. You think there's any, one report or two reports, besides the mega cap tech, that you think you're going to be keying on the next couple of weeks?
Two things I wanted to mention because I wasn't bullish in financials and XLF until the last day of Q2. So what was it, the 30th of June?
Mm-hmm.
We finally broke above the 200. And kind of going back to the book Mitch was holding up, you look at some of the technicals that the legends, the traders who were trading in the 70s and 80s. I only started in the early 90s, but some basic things. They talked about 200 simple and exponential moving averages. And so some of that old school stuff still works. If you look at the 30th, XLF finally busted above that 200, and it's been, pretty much looking higher ever since. Some of those basic things work. So back to XLF, really bullish there. Not bullish on KRE. And if XLF and tech remain strong, that puts the S&P in play, but it's going to, the lagging in healthcare is going to keep the Dow from joining the party. And if you take a look at who's been lagging, it's mostly been the Dow and the Russell. And if we think back to high concentration weighting, the Dow's number one sector is financials, and the Russell 2000's number one sector are the regional banks. So again, once again, financials. So it's really more about what I've not been trading, kind of a do not watch list or do not trade list, and waiting to see if healthcare ever starts to join the party. But right now it still looks terrible. So what am I looking at? Pretty much the same things I was looking at for the first half of the year, tech, and then now financials have made their way to the list.
Any thoughts on basic materials, and maybe we see inflation tick up a little bit as the dollar keeps coming down here?
Basic materials, when I take a look at, I look at four moving averages, 8, 13, 21, 34, right? Exponential, they're Fibonacci based. I mean, pick whatever you'd like, right? I think if we pick a number of moving averages and when they align in a certain way, for me, that's just an easy, very mechanical way to say, this is a trend and this is not a trend. And basic materials turned into a trend. Interestingly enough, great. I'm so glad you brought it up, Mitch. They turned into an uptrend at the end of Q2. And why is that such a big deal? Because at the end of the first half of the year, the end of the second quarter, we started to see the net flows tick up. We started to see the uptrend kick in. And that timing, before the end of Q2, going into Q3, that tells me money is willing to sit there. Money is willing to commit to some of that long side. And so financials and basic materials, XLB, benefited from that timing.
We've been on the line with Raghee Horner, Managing Director of Futures at Simpler Trading. Always a great, fun, cheery, happy, nice, smart guest. Thank you, Raghee. We'll be talking to you, I'm sure, in August.
Thank you so much, guys. Great to see y'all.
Always good. All right, gonna have to find out what that 10x book is in the back. I like that. We always want a 10x, baby. Let's get after it. How are we looking in the market right now, Joel? Are we
creeper
still
rally?
creeping?
Yeah,
Yep.
5150 up 8 handles. Like when I said to Dennis yesterday, I was like, are there any offers out there? Just kind of just moseying our way up. Of course, we'll be focusing on a breach of the pre-market high, 52 and a quarter. Really any kind of decline here to that close from yesterday, 43.50. That would be right around mid-range on the session. So if you're looking for a pullback on this one, we'll be keeping an eye on that closing high, the highest close since April of 2022. So up 7.5 handles, 45.51.
I'm having serious problems with my headset. I didn't get a chance to talk with Raghee there. My headset just exploded.
No worries.
And it's done. So I threw it on the ground. I'm now talking through, finding up, I'm talking through my webcam. So
it's not, you sound baritone, but
yeah, well, I sound baritone. I was a baritone in high school, but I'll get a new headset here. I was trying to get the last little bit. The Logitech headset lasts like 6 years. That was a long time.
Dennis, you could spend more than $49.99, okay?
I liked it. You know what? I went and bought an expensive one, and then it was so over my ears. I found my ears sweating in it. So I like just that loose little cheap one. I don't like that leather on there. I want it just nice and and not that big leather and cupping my whole ear.
All right, Dennis. So what are you looking at here towards the open? What type of stocks? What's your mentality? Because I think
It's rotation station here. So the banks are ripping. We know that. And we know
let's
why.
get to
What
it.
is interesting is you have some tech very strong and some tech very weak. So we have rotation within sectors here today. If I'm
Again,
looking, we know Microsoft is up because of the upgrade. We see Netflix is up huge here today. I don't know if there's news, but it's up $8. Nvidia's having another day because that's just continued FOMO. Meta is down because of the threads and the potential traffic going lower. But then you've also got Apple trading red, Tesla trading red, Amazon trading red, Shopify red, Applied Materials up, a micron down. I mean, it's all over the place today. It's a very weird day.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been getting this upside reaction. I'm wondering if, of course, the special rebalancing turns this around, but we don't know exactly when we're going to get that announcement. No time has been given by the NASDAQ. Standard times when they do rebalancing is normally at the close. So that's why I've stated that it feels like it's going to be at the close. If it was a normal rebalancing, that's when they would do it. Of course, special case here. We'll see what happens. But what would you be looking for? Maybe we could have a rally into the last hour of the day, something like that, Dennis. What would you be looking for to give you a little bit of
I
time?
think it's impossible to call the overall market here. What I do think is that if that official announcement comes at 4 o'clock, the algos we've talked about. Did I just die? Am I still there?
no, you're there.
You're good, Dennis.
The
Keep going.
algos we've talked about don't price in anything. So if we do get that announcement at 4 o'clock, I think it's not so much the trade because everybody knows that they're going to be taken out. We're not taking out, but they're going to be reducing. Obviously the Teslas and the Apples and the Microsofts and bringing down the weightings there. But how are they redistributing it? That's the bigger question because there's 93 other components there. Are they just going to do it evenly? Are they going to, give Netflix more? Maybe some people are anticipating that. They're going to give the big guns, the more. Are they going to go to the little stuff, the stuff at the very bottom of the list, and give that stuff? That's what we don't know. So I tend to think they're going to give a little bit to everything. I'm just guessing though, but we don't know how this is. So we need to find out. And the announcement, Donnie. So today it's going to be announced that the NASDAQ is doing. They've already announced they're going to do a special rebalance where they reduce the weightings of the Magnificent Seven and they increase the weightings of the other components. That the stock weighting announcements is supposed to happen today. They just said they're going to announce it on the 14th, and I think it's supposed to actually occur. Do we know when the actual reweighting happens? Is it next Friday?
Is it on the open on Monday?
No. They're doing the announcement, and then it's like a week or 10 days until they actually implement it.
It's effective at the open July 24th.
There you go. So they're announcing it today. We don't know what time. Hasn't dropped yet. I don't think it's dropped yet.
No, it has not. I think we would definitely know.
Mitch thinks it's going to get announced at 4 o'clock at the close, which would make sense. So at the close, you could see some of those smaller components in the QQQs maybe pop up. And again, maybe it's already been played because we've seen the smaller components popping up on this already. So lots of but the important thing is this will move stocks. So and the announcement may move stocks here as well. And then obviously in the 24th, where the ETFs at, the people who are following the ETF will have to buy those ones that are, getting increased weight and sell those ones that are, decreasing weight to adjust themselves. So this is market moving. When this was announced on Monday, we saw the Magnificent Seven get hammered. They've completely forgot about it, don't care, whatever, and they bought all those stocks back up to the highs. So do they get hit again, the Magnificent Seven? I don't know. We'll find out.
And you talk about the reaction in the market. It will be humans, right? Because what do you program your bot for on this one? If you programmed it to be selling the Magnificent Seven all week, then you're getting your head ripped off, right? Because they've had some nice rallies. So it'd be it. I mean,
if you're trading this ahead, you're getting your head ripped off. And I was trying to trade it ahead, and it wasn't working, and I realized it quickly. I tried to short some Microsoft, on that one pop the one day after, and you realize quickly you're wrong. How do you know you're wrong? You start losing money. And the trend has just continued. Thank goodness. I think I shorted Microsoft at 337. I covered it at like 339. The thing's 348 in my face if I still had it. So, you got to get the timing on this stuff right. And maybe they do get hit on it again. but the timing is, the timing is the issue here. I just don't wonder if there's a small setup here to maybe be short those things on the close and long the other things. Then it gets announced, and maybe the algos, will make it go, at least a pop one way and the other way. I'm kind of more interested in the pop in the lower components as opposed to the sell off in the mega caps.
Good mention there. I think that's an important one. What will you be looking for, Joe? Maybe some comments from you there.
Boy, oh boy. Earlier I was looking at the lower rated one, the ones that have the lighter weighting, and they've already had a nice pop.
Huge run, right?
Yeah,
It's kind
some
of
of them
hard
had
to
a
come
pop.
after them, right?
Yeah,
Some of them
so
have, yep.
yep. And so if I was playing it, if I was actually playing those from the long side, and then the announcement came up, and then they got another, big pop, then I think it would be, it'd be, interesting to see the levels that they go to after that, and then use that as a reference point. I mean, if you talk about what it takes to get a rally in Walgreen Boots Alliance here, it's one of the lowest rated components of the triple Qs. So that almost made a gap fill there. If I had this one, I'd be like, can it, looking at that 31, see if it could get back to that area. So I'd be trying to maybe sell into the strength if I was long the ones getting added. I mean, the big caps have just, so far it hasn't went by the playbook, right? Is what you think would happen. So I don't know if it will start now. We should discuss Meta here a little bit.
Yeah, let's go to Meta.
It's down almost 1%, Mitch. Well, we gave you the news. I mean, you had the big surge in signups, and now it's abating. I don't know. Hard to figure out to buy the dip on this one after making a new high of the move yesterday. I will say it's opening at yesterday's low. I think the Bulls got to make a stand here at 310. Yesterday's low, 310.29. After that, below that, if it takes that out, I absolutely don't see a support until you get to 310. Believe it or not, that's your 2-day low in Meta.
To my buddy Eric's point here in my Twitter feed, and Eric tweets at me all the time, so I always listen to. He's fun to listen to.
Eric M. Eric L.
This one's Eric L. There's an Eric M too. This one's Eric L. But he's right. He's right. It went up 20 points on the Threads announcement, and now they basically came out and said Threads is sucking, and it goes down 2. I mean, this is the definition of a bull market right here. Up 20 on the good announcement, down 2 on the bad announcement. I mean, the Threads, let's just call it out. We already kind of called this out, but let's call it out here again. I mean, I opened an account. I went over there. I threaded. It's stupid to say threaded, but I don't know what you call it. It's a stupid name. I threaded, like Meta's a stupid name. I threaded 3 times, and then I never looked at it again. Why? Because I'm like threading to 137 people, or I tweet to my 20,000 people. I'm like, it's no brainer unless I link it up and do both, which maybe you could. I just see no reason to go rebuild all of my connections, all of the people I've connected with on Twitter. I have to go to Threads now and start over again and reconnect with all those people. And I was like threading with Anne-Marie Band and saying, what's your thread? Because there's fake ones over there too. I'm like, which one's the real one? So
I'm threading, baby. I'm threading. I'm threading right now.
So,
live on pre-market prep.
Line is I see, great difficulty in this product just replacing Twitter. I think it's a nice thought process, but it's not going to be that easy for the Zuck. And I'm still betting on Musk. I don't even care to go over to Threads here now. I stopped the notifications on my phone. I mean, I don't want to go to the work of trying to rebuild up to my 20,000 followers again on Threads.
I think the opposite, though. I'll tell you. I'll think the opposite. Why? Because of the advertising game. And I think that's why you're seeing Meta really lift. The subscribers definitely give it the lift, but what gives it the lift to continue is money coming to the platform. I think money's been wanting to get away from Twitter, but there was no alternative. Now there is an alternative. I think in the long run, you will see a little bit of a pickup by Threads.
If there's no eyeballs over there, though, why are the advertisers going to go there? So they got to get the eyeballs. So let's see. It's early here yet, but early reports are that engagement has dropped 50% since it was like 2 days ago. I'm like, holy, that makes sense because I was one of those people that engaged 3-4 days ago. And now I don't open it. So if I'm one of the other people, I mean, I don't see the reason to go. It's exactly the same thing as Twitter. Why do I want to go start over again? So I think they got a serious issue there with trying to like get this, and they're just building it. It's new. It's it's trying to see if it can work. So, but they're throwing some money at it. I think you're going to have a big hurdle to try to displace Twitter.
We will have to keep an eye on it. I know Joel isn't on Threads anytime soon. I can tell you guys that one. We'll see what happens in Meta and Threads, but man, I mean, just look at that monthly chart. What an opportunity.
Oh man.
I mean, I don't think anybody would. You know how they always say that there's no such thing as V bottoms? Next time you hear someone say that, please slap them. Because there is such thing as V bottoms, and I see them all the time on charts. Right. So that quote, yeah, that one needs to get put away and not be said anymore. Because how many times have I seen
that is a V bottoms? That's a
V bottom, man. That is as V bottom as it gets. Look at Nvidia. Nvidia is the same chart. You didn't tell me we don't get V bottoms? Look at those two charts.
No V bottoms, bro. In 2023. It started in 2023, right at the beginning. The calendar turn, which we talked about the rotation into the laggards, January effect that the laggards
oh man,
the leaders. That leadership just never went away. We had a pretty good January. Trading, some of those things, and they were moving up 3, 4, 5%. I was like, this is good. And then Nvidia goes 300%. I was like, holy, did I ever screw that up?
Yeah.
Wow. It's incredible.
That's how it is, man. All right. What about XOM and the oil? It slightly came down yesterday. We saw Chevron come down a little bit. Oxy's still staying strong. Little part of me thinks that Warren got the buying program on, but of course, I don't know what's going on there. What do you guys think about oil now? I'm actually looking for maybe some dips to buy here.
Well, I've been long just PXD and Oxy just from a valuation perspective is that they're just cheap. And, I'd warn with Oxy and PXD, I bought that one because I still feel it's a target. It could be a target for a takeover. So I've not done much on these. We've traded the Oxy a few times. I had good day trades off it, but it's basically where I bought it. I think I bought 58 and 61. PXD, I bought it like 215. It's 215. I was down with it for a bet. But I mean, the one thing about buying good stocks at reasonable valuations is you have the fundamentals to lean on. You come in like a Carvana. I mean, you come in some of this Nikola. I mean, you don't have the fundamental story to lean on. You have a hot story maybe shortly. Oh, we're going to squeeze them. But I'm fairly confident Oxy isn't going to zero anytime soon. I'm fairly confident PXD isn't going to zero. I mean, that's not off the table on some of these other stocks. So that's why, from an investing standpoint, investing hat here right now, I always buy good companies at reasonable valuations, and I try not to put junk in there. I feel like PXD, Oxy, I feel like these are good companies.
Good companies, yeah, at reasonable valuations. All right, I'm going to hop here. S&Ps, we did make a new high for the move at 53.25. I don't know if I could say Thursday's high is, still not a relevant number. That is right here, 45.50, 150. So, right out of the gate here, let's get to that pre-market high, and then my upside target on the day is closer to 45.85. And if we get in any dip near unchanged on the session, 43.50, expect to find some buyers. So fun show today. As always, everyone have a great weekend. I'm out of here.
All right. You guys keep up with Joel O'Connor. Of course, you guys know Pre-Market Prep Plus and, of course, the closing print. And Dennis, are you ready for the closing print today? I have a feeling we might see some fireworks at the closing print.
I think so.
Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, well, we'll see if that announcement happens at 4 o'clock like you predict it's going. Yeah. I might position myself to be long a few of those lower names and short maybe some of the mega caps just into the close just to see if you have the algorithmic move off of it. Mm-hmm. But, obviously maybe that announcement happens sooner than that too. So we've got to just keep our, we don't know when that announcement's going to officially drop. We're guessing it's going to drop at 4, but we don't know. So anyways, my headset, again, I apologize. I know my mic is off here right now. I'm using the webcam mic because my headset literally just blew up.
We got that for you throughout the weekend. We got a weekend. We'll get that done.
One this weekend. We'll be back to normal this weekend.
It's always good to have you, Dennis Dick. Have a good one, my friend, and enjoy your weekend.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Feel better, feel better. I know you haven't been feeling the best, so feel better, my friend Dennis. And of course, we're going to bring you guys over to live trading. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. And appreciate the comments in the chat. You guys that always thank us for a great show. We really do thank you guys because honestly, that's what we do this for, right? We don't have to do pre-market prep. I don't think Dennis, Joel, or I have to do it. What we do it for is really because we want to be with you guys, the community here at pre-market prep. We love doing this every single day. You guys know Dennis and Joel definitely love doing this for you guys. So just do us the favor. If you guys could do us the favor is just hit the share button. Forget even the like button. What we want to do more is share this with others, right? Let's say some people that maybe not looking too much in investments. Share this with them because they could really start learning from this show. And that's really what it's all about. It's our way of paying it forward to you guys out there and getting you ready for the trading day. All right. And like I mentioned earlier, of course, you guys can definitely check out the book club. We've been going through Market Wizards. You guys heard Raghee talk all about it. She's all for this book. So if you guys want to check out the book club, of course, we've been going through this on Tuesday. We're going to be doing 2 interviews, covering 2 of the book's interviews, of course. And so these are interviews with top traders and finding out how their strategy is. You guys have to hit that link to join the book club. We have close to 600 members on the book club. So I'm really trying to get this over 1,000. You guys out there, hit that link, join the book club. Now to get you over to, of course, live trading. That's coming up next. And I did see some people already mention that they shared it. That's what it's all about. I really do appreciate that, really, truly from the bottom of my heart, because really at the end of the day, that gives us more than you guys know, because we can do this show a million times for you guys out there. But really, we also want to get to some new investors out there so they can learn the markets and, of course, find their edge. We'll bring you now over to live trading. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere. And if you guys didn't by any means catch the AI event yesterday, definitely check out the AI event. Qualcomm taking off. And, of course, where were they yesterday? At our AI event. Check out that AI event, especially if you're a Qualcomm investor. Now to bring you guys over to some live trading, Ryan Faluna and I ready to get after the market. Let's get after it.